Most people cannot be financial independents, but this is because neither lazy nor intelligence deficiencies. The system is structured in this way. He engages us, stirs our head, and feels comfortable enough to not be asked. When most people understand that the game is wrong, it is very late to win, because they never taught the rules. I can say that it is a fact that it doesn't like by anyone. Today I will tell you the basics of economic slavery, but before proceeding to your location, do not forget to subscribe to our channel, like our video and jump like. They tell us the importance of budgeting, running, home buying, and investing in exchange. It is said that financial freedom is only a matter of discipline. However, we will be a bit honest against ourselves. Not only the discipline will take this point. If you were so, every nurse would be rich and factory worker who saved all his life. But the situation is not like, and this is not relevant to design. Financial freedom is not only money, control, time, selections, and security. AIN is about the ability to call a bill or a crisis, no life. This kind of freedom is not achieved. It is necessary to build. And to build it, you need to really understand the elements that keep people behind. Let's start with date. The wealth for a large part of humanity was about having land. Land. Food was powered. The 90% of the population in Central Europe was working on the territory of someone else. They were called serfing them, but they were actually dropped to salt with the fear of debt, rent, and hunger. Do we know? Let's go to the industry revolution with speed. Multiple people have become independent of the soil. They have become dependent on fees. The factory changed the space, but the dynamic remained the same, working for long hours, earning enough money to survive and stay dependent. A new concept appeared in the 20th century. The middle class has been determined as a class that can get income from home to buy, to establish families, perhaps to retire. But even during that period, real freedom was uncommon, because the whole system was designed to serve the culture of consumption. We step into the 21st century. Efficiency peaked. Technology has experienced a great explosion, but the actual fees for most people were fixed. The middle class lies. By the way, life costs, housing, health, and education have increased quite. Debt has become almost an ordinary thing. Student loans, credit card debts, car loans, mortgage debts, and medical expenses. The total debt of an average American house is now more than $100,000. And this is only an average value. So what advantages do you get when most people are constantly borrowed? Now add inflation, a quiet thieves. Today, $1 can only buy half of the previous value of 20 years. And the solutions offered to this problem result in printing more money. Low interest rates are trying to revive the economy. However, as a result, prices remain variable. Stocks, real estates, goods, riches are more rich with assets they already have. Non-owners remain behind. This is not an error, it is the itself of the functioning. A financial system powered by debt results in inflation and continues to be mixed. And the main problem here, you are trained to blame yourself. You haven't made enough. That's your error. You don't have enough effort because you don't get a home. You are dependent on Map or Drasuna. You should make a better budget. The system will never blame you. Only another app tries to sell another course or another product, but you still stay locked in the same cage. Here's the moment where the facts begin to suffer, but it's so important. Most people do not grasp it. They work for money, spend time for salary. But true wealth comes with the work of money for you. While the assets are coming, your time starts to freedom when it becomes optional. This transition creates the area of freedoms. But most people can't learn to follow it. Most people are stuck in a cycle that gives the feeling of progress, but this is not a real progress. Finding a job and buying things with credit, raising the standards of life, running in the pursuit of promotion, paying taxes, and they hope to be retired for a day. However, the problem is not only debt, however, there are dependencies from it. If you rely on a salary control to stay alive, you will not be able to take risk. When all your life is funded with debt, you cannot say no. When your ID is connected with consumption, you will spend all your presence to protect the image you need. Now, let's address the top class. People who really have financial freedom are playing with a different book of rules. They do not trade time for money. They are working for themselves. They diligence and compounds. They understand the tax system, evaluate the gaps, control over security and companies. They plan for 10 years and do not make periodic payments. Most importantly, they succeed in thinking differently than they thought the system. No information about financial leverage in school. They do not explain how inflation transfers wealth. They do not say that they are not just a dream of getting passive income. This is the basis of the richness. To continue to stay rich, they store facts from you. Instead, you are constantly nourished with more work, culture and lifestyle brands. Show more effort, try longer. This is not a trip, a race that continues on a treadmill. When you are burned, they will return to your therapy, coffee, or weekend. But none of them is not true. This is true. You can't be asked for any situation you don't understand. Therefore, financial education is not required. You begin to ask for comfortable questions. Where is your money going for every month? How does your income burn your business? How can you change it? What skills can affect this situation? What products can create or buy cash flow? And most importantly, what expenses can you restrict? What expenses, assumptions, and dependencies do you compress? Because real wealth is not just about having more things. It is related to need less. This is not a minimalist lifestyle, but every dollar is a carefully used strategy and it has a happiness. Here the importance of mentality occurs. While the average individual reacts to money, the person who is financially independent plans it more strategically. They create safe spaces. They develop sensitivity. The difference between the price and value distinguishes what is important with the urgency. They're not going to market, but they're developing strategies for survival. This is not only a theory. The date is full of examples that support this situation. The families holding generations of assets are not predicting stock tips, but they managed it through assets that bring property, business, intellectual property, and income. They used information, legal structures, and strategic positions. There wasn't just about money here, it was a matter of mindset. Yet everyone was encouraged to become a consumer. Win, spend, repeat. Be grateful for a job. If you don't have, take debt for training. Use credit for transportation. Debt for housing. But what the winnings are. Ask how money is created. Ask why. You're less important when you're trying more, but now you start asking questions. This is where the illusion begins to crack. So what practical way is moving forward? This is not eye-catching, not viral. It doesn't give you wealth overnight, but it's true. Firstly, reduce brittleness. Review the obligations that make you regent. This can mean selling a tool or moving to a more convenient location. However, any kind of flexibility you create is a regenerated dollar. Second, creating assets. Not only investments, but also skills are important. Create winning skills in open market, growing businesses that exceed your time and investments that bring income while sleeping. Even a strong network is considered as an asset. It is important to think about long-term. Keep continuous components in mind. Thirdly, protect your mind. Do not cover news, ads, hypnosis, or fear. View the past. Try to figure out how systems work. Learn the effect of incentives to your behavior. When you are calmer and curious, the system becomes more difficult to manipulate you. Fourthly, share information. The actual power is not stored, spreads. When more people understand how to play the game starts to change. They shouldn't know how they aren't, but never show. They were pilled to a scenario. They said it is life, and they were punished when they were away from it. But you don't have to follow this scenario. You can write a new story. This starts with transparency, then comes control, and finally freedom. Rather than the imagination, this is the freedom to choose how you spend your days. When emergency situations do not break you, money becomes a tool, not a cruel. Hard but possible. And now starts. If this gives you a new perspective, join. Offers, date, and responses. You will see where to guide you. Thank you for your watch. If you still haven't subscribed to our channel, you can subscribe with the subscriber button at the bottom.